Hello and welcome to Boys to Men, the great FM21 adventure where we are trying to take Swedish team Brommapojkarna from the third tier to the second tier to the first tier where we are now, and then we are trying to conquer Sweden and conquer Europe. After devastation in the cup last episode, we are looking forward, we are focusing on the league, and today we will also look at our youngsters and see how well they develop. Doesn't that sound exciting? Here we go. So the first thing we're going to look at is the youth intake preview, and this is the first one that doesn't promise a golden generation, but on the other hand we have several positions that look like we could fill with decent players, so that looks promising. But in today's episode we will focus more on the play development aspect and how well or bad we are doing in our play development. So we lead the Premier Division play development. We will look through the players. We have 29 players provided. Here we have several Djurgården players. We first have Jakob Une Larsson, who is one decent central defender. Jonathan Augustinsson, also a good defender. Some of these guys I would be over the moon if we could bring in. Jesper Karlström, good central midfielder. Stefano Vecchia, creative winger. And Felix Beijmo, I've talked about him before. A wing back who would give us a great deal of quality and depth. But he is out of our league at the moment, at least that's what he thinks. Hjalmar Ekdal, younger brother of Albin Ekdal. Decent central defender, wouldn't mind getting him in either. Felix Bernard, meh, we kind of released him. He wasn't good enough for us, but he's still playing top flight football. Jonathan Westerberg, a bit of the same issue there. I don't think he is really good enough to focus on bringing back, even though he's an okay central defender. If we scroll down a little further, we have Adam Hellqvist, who he played a couple of games for us, but he isn't really a top flight player in my mind. So, and towards the end of the list, we have Philip Trunnier, who is okay-ish as well. So a couple of guys who are still in the Allsvenskan who we would like to bring in, especially the Djurgården players. If we focus on our 3 intakes we've had so far in this kind of crowded view maybe, but if we start on the left side, there you have our 3 intakes so far. The top one is the 2021, the middle is the 2021, and the low one is the 2022. We have sort of a graph of how much they have developed this season and what sort of BP DNA they have divided into skill, perception, movement and character for the 2023 season that we are in now, and we are doing this ahead of the next youth intake. So we have kind of a falling average DNA increase, which makes me a bit worried. 2.2 in the first intake, 1.6 in the second intake, and 1.3 in the third intake. And here I'm talking about individual players' total BP DNA improvement over the season. The average DNA is also highest for the first intake by a mile, but they've been with us for 3 years now almost, which gives them a bit of an advantage. Highest DNA player is Marcus Hallgren at 71, which is very good. But what worries me a bit is that the younger players from the second and third intake aren't really developing that well. The most improved player, both from the second intake, Gustafsson, and from the third intake, Viklund, only increased 4 DNA, while the best player from the first intake increased 5 DNA. And he should be increasing less because he's a bit older, but that's what it is. I hope that we will have better intakes going forward. If we look at the top 10 list when it comes to DNA, in blue we have 8 players from the 2020 youth intake, Hallgren at the top there, and the 2 players who are not from the 2020 youth intake are Karlsson Victor Karlsson, who came through in our second youth intake, and then we also have striker Kalle Andersson, who is on 8th place on the list, who came through in last year's youth intake. So there might be 1 or 2 golden nuggets that we can bring through, but mostly these last 2 intakes have been crap. I do want to show you these 2 players that I call golden nuggets from the recent intakes, and then we're also going to look at the best players we have DNA wise who have come through so far. So if we start with Kalle Andersson, who is the most recent player we're interested in, he came through in last season's youth intake and looked like a good solid striker, and he has improved nicely. Aggressive, determined, but with a bit of dribbling and a bit of technique. Hopefully he can improve. Victor Karlsson came in as a right winger, but we have wanted to retrain him as a right wing back. That hasn't gone great. He lacks tackling, but he also lacks a few of the attacking skills needed. So we will see what happens with him. So this is the new crown in our new diamond in our crown, I was going to say, Marcus Hallgren, and this is what he looks like now, a couple of seasons in, and wow, he has turned into a phenomenal player. I think he's going to be called up for the national team next season. He's that good. Gustav Boman has also improved a lot. I will show you in just a few seconds. Not as much, but he looked okay-ish as a 16-year-old, had a 5-star potential, and he has used that potential to turn into a much more well-rounded player. His passing game is great, but he also works well on the pitch. Teamwork 15, work rate 15, stamina 14. John Tete, a dribbler with a nice first touch, a bit on the slow side, lacking finishing. We have been trying to work on these issues with him, and we have come a bit on the way. Acceleration 12, still only 6 finishing, but he scored 11 goals so far this season anyway, so he knows where the goal is. Jakob Eklund, another one of those hard-working central midfielders. Stamina 13, teamwork 13, work rate 13 were his strengths. And now in 2023, this is what he looks like. He has improved on those technical abilities, but he really shines physically. Natural fitness 16, stamina 17, teamwork 14, work rate 15. Really good. And Levis Keflesus is the last one we will look at. I didn't really like the look of him, but he has improved loads. Look at this. Physically, mentally, technically, very nice. So I just want to show you the kind of progress we've had so far. And I want to show you this. We have finally found a head of the youth department, and that's Mattias Moström, former player for AIK, Molde and Haugesund. He is driven. He has a preferred formation without wingers, which is good because that will make the likelihood of him bringing through wingers slightly less. I don't like his hoofball attitude to the game, but I like his skill. So we will give him 1, 2, 3 intakes to see what kind of player he brings in when it comes to personality. If we have fewer wingers and more central players, which is much needed for our system, and sort of the general feel for him. So I'm really excited to get him in. So that was sort of the developmental part of today's episode. Now we will focus on the game and see how we are doing in the league. Okay, so it hasn't been going great. We started off awfully after that Häcken game with 1 point in 4 games. Then we had 2 wins, a couple of losses, a couple of wins, and then for some inexplicable reason we lost against the third tier side Sandviken in the second round of the cup. And today we are playing Degerfors, who are recently promoted. Like 20-30 years ago they were a solid Premier Division side, but now they are back again. They are 12th, we are 10th, so this is sort of a good indication of where our season will go. We have 11 points up and 13 points down, so we are currently in no man's land. A win here might suggest that we could go for sort of a top half finish, and a loss here would probably mean that we were closer to the relegation battle, even though we have a healthy margin down there at the moment. So as this game starts off, see if we get an early indication of where this one is going. We have the ball at least, but this is probably one of those completely pointless highlights. Yeah, just as I thought, this is the first proper one, and it goes to Degerfors. Passing the ball around. Can they get anywhere? Maybe they can. Bit of a tiki-taka there, but we stop them in their tracks. Here they come again though. Findell tries some kind of acrobatic tackle, and they missed the goal. Thank you for that. Chance for us maybe. Throw in. Findell to Tete. Ekdal shoots, but to no avail. But we're off at least. Both teams looking eager to attack. This could be a positive game, and as I say that, minutes just keep flying by without new highlights, so maybe I was completely wrong. Okay, here they come. Send the ball in, and Dahlström with a close one. We replicate Björkström in the right back. Finds Boman. Oh, now then. Oh, I was hoping for a better finish there. He had kind of an open spot, but deflected off the defender. They are playing the ball around nicely there in their midfield triangle, but their shooting is way off, and that was offside as well. Can we build up here? See a bit of build-up play. Boman sends it to Krebi. Kreb to Tete. An easy save for their keeper, Diawara. Who sends it up? Okay, I'm not sure what that was. Maybe they shouldn't let him start their attacks if he's going to pull stuff like that. But here they come. Another chance for Dahlström. I think that's his third decent chance so far. Even though they haven't had a shot on target, they have been fairly dangerous when they have reached the final third. So hopefully they won't do that too often. Whose highlight will this be? Who's first to that one? Almebek. He's not a fast one, but a strong, intimidating guy. Play the ball around, don't hoof it. Oh, I don't like these hoof balls. Boy beats his man, gets the ball in, Boman, and he scores. Of course, we score after one of those long direct balls that I'm trying to avoid. Maybe that's the way to go from here. Maybe I should just give up on trying to create my own tactic and just hoof the ball up and hope that our most attacking and most dangerous players solve the problem. 1-0, and I don't sound too happy because I'm not too happy either. But you say, why? You should be happy when you score. Yeah, I know I should be happy when we score, but I want us to play a certain brand of football, passing oriented, fast paced. I want us to be technically better than our opponents. And of course we can play more direct and hit them on the break sometimes, hit them in behind, but those mindless hoofballs from the keeper, I don't like them. Okay, enough with ranting, back to the actual game. We are 1-0 up, which means if we are going to go by what I said earlier, we are looking to finish in the top half of the table, and I think that isn't a too unrealistic idea. Oh, good shot, but nice save. Fantastic save even. Bit of a Peter Shilton save there. Hallgren, another save from Diawara. But immediately it sends the ball up again. We retrieve it. Findell to Wallenborg. Eklund finds someone in the middle. There we go. Out again. Nice. This is the kind of play I like. Can this amount to anything? Yeah, Eklund trying to kill one of the opponents in the box. Maybe not what I wanted. Eklund to Wallenborg. Can we get the ball in? We try. Oh, Krebi. He should do better there. First half over. Decent-ish kind of half. 1.33 versus 0.52 xg. So we have been the better team, even though they've had a few decent chances. Well, I'm going to tell them something positive at least. so I don't break them at half time, because I want to win this one. I want to look up the table. I don't want to look down. I don't want to worry about relegation, and I don't want to be stuck in a sort of mid-table mediocrity either, because that isn't fun for you and it isn't fun for me. I want to start climbing. I want to start looking up towards at least the top half finish. Oof. Nice from Hallgren. Didn't see that one coming, but the result is still 1-0. An hour played. Maybe we are getting closer to substitution time. We'll see what happens here first. Ekdal to Björkström. Findell out again. Find someone centrally. Out again and get the ball in. There we go. Oh, yes. I'm actually more satisfied with that one, which was an own goal, than the first one, because that kind of showed what I want us to do. Get the ball in centrally, then out into the corridor, back in centrally, so they have to keep moving in defense all the time, and then we get the ball in, and that was a bit of luck, but still, it's a goal, and I think it's a product of us actually moving the ball pretty fast paced there. Here they come though. Okay, Albin just sends the ball away. He is that kind of no-nonsense guy. And speaking of no-nonsense guys, maybe it's time for a sub or two. Ortmark can come in instead of Eklund, who's tired. Granberg comes in for another tired player. And the third tired player who comes out is John Tete, and Kefleses comes in. So 3 subs with 17 minutes left to play. Not trying to put too much of a strain on our players, even though they looked really tired. The schedule going forward will be congested from time to time, at least due to a couple of international breaks, so we don't want to ride our players too hard. So a few easy minutes to end this game would be very much appreciated, I'd say. And here they come, lovely save from Piconel. Piconel managed to wind his way back into the starting 11. Isn't that lovely? Well, he hasn't been bad since he came back either. Maybe he was correct that he was supposed to be the number 1. But I cannot say that I love players who come running. Get on, Bert. Boom, out again and in. Yes, I like that. Oh! I liked it, but it was disallowed. Offside. Okay, so that's another one of those showings of the line of play that I'm looking for. I might even start experimenting with going up to the highest tempo again to see just what happens. Maybe I will wait until I think that we are technically superior than our opponents, because then we should be able to handle a high tempo and our opponents shouldn't be able to handle it. So we will see. Maybe I will play around a bit with the tempo setting for this tactic going forward. Not today though. Now we are just focusing on winning this one, staying away from having injured players, and just enjoying life basically. Starting to look up the table, starting to look for maybe a top half finish this season, which automatically would be our best finish ever. If we top last season's finish, then it will be our best finish ever. And it will be another step towards Europe, which is the ultimate goal, even though I think we are far, far, far away from it. So we win a solid 2-0 win. 17 shots, 8 on target. I'm going to tell them I'm happy. They love that. Okay, so this is what the table looks like now. We are still in 10th, but top half finish isn't impossible. We are actually only 8 points away from Norrköping in 4th place, and we are 16 points down to Mjällby. So looking forward, with 10 games left to play, we are playing Sirius in 15th, Djurgården in 7th, Elfsborg in 9th, Göteborg in 3rd. Okay, the games will get increasingly more difficult until we play Falkenberg in 12th. So when I come back next time, you will see where this season is going. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.